I have been alerted by a number of emailers to a story out of Oberlin College in Ohio. A student there was described as being scared and angry.
Oh, my.
After the school announced a work crew would be installing radiators in a safe space dormitory for women and trans students, explaining the crew would likely be cisgender men. I think that just means you're heterosexual.
Hello.
I was angry, scared, and confused. Why didn't the college complete the installation over the summer when the building was empty? Why couldn't they tell us precisely when the workers would be there? Why were they only notifying us on the day before the installation was due to begin? Oberlin student Peter Frey-Witzer wrote in an op-ed published in the college newspaper. The student said he grew concerned because he had not heard of the installation plans before a school email was sent on October 7. He explained that the crew would likely be cisgender men entering Baldwin Cottage, which is home to a safe space for women and transgendered persons. They're coming to put radiators in, and this guy's freaking out.
Wow.
In general, I'm very averse to people entering my personal space. This anxiety was compounded by the fact that the crew would be strangers, and they would more likely to be cisgender men. Are you kidding me? We are falling apart.
Wow.
We are raising children who are falling apart. Mm-hmm. The work crew eventually showed up at the dorm, and Frey-Witzer described what he saw immediately, that they were all men. It was clear that the college had not made a special request that male workers not be allowed onto the upper floors of Baldwin. I would have said, okay, then freeze your ass off. You're not getting a radiator,
There you go.
dumb bleep.
Oh, careful.
I've got something good for you when you finish.
Frey-Witzer asked a representative of the college, who he called Polo Man because he was wearing a neat polo, who accompanied the crew if he could reject getting the radiator installed. The college emissary apparently said no, and the student left for class to allow the work crew to make the dorm improvements. By the time I had come back, they appeared to be done, though Polo Man warned me that they would return later in the week to check the installation. Sure enough, they were back the next day. I felt violated and peeved.
Wow.
Frey-Witzer said he asked how other students in the dorm felt about the work crew, with many complaining about messes, noise, and other typical complaints that accompany construction projects. Others noted they didn't feel comfortable with how the school handled the installation. I understand, of course, that installations like this are routine. The college needs to improve facilities occasionally, and who am I to stand in the way of that? After all, I got a brand spanking new radiator right in time for the cold weather. But why not finish the project during the 4 months of the summer semester when the building was unoccupied? I guess the school has an obligation to nurture goofballs like this and make sure he feels okay. There's another version here, what this says. Frey-Witzer has never scheduled any sort of home maintenance or delivery, apparently. I waited apprehensively. The workers began installing in common spaces, and I could see immediately they were all men. It was clear that the college had not made a special request that male workers not be allowed. Predicting when they would reach my room was pure guesswork. I was trying to anticipate whether I would be in class when they arrived, or if I had to welcome strangers into my room only to be ejected to allow them space to work. When the insistent knock eventually came, I scrambled to get my mask on and repeatedly shouted, "Coming," through the door. 4 or 5 construction workers stood outside, accompanied by someone who I could only assume by his neat polo and clipboard to be an emissary from the college. We stared at each other for a moment before I moved aside to allow the workers to enter. The emissary began issuing platitudes that the work wouldn't take long and encouraged me to prop open my door. I merely asked if I could actually not have a radiator in my room. I knew the answer was no before I had even had to say it, but was worth a shot.
Oh, my God.
You're mentally ill, kid. I don't deny saying that. You're allegedly mentally ill.
Imagine this person, however it's possible, gets a job and is called in for their review. And imagine having to be the manager dealing with this person giving a review.
No way.